What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to another special episode of Outside the Trenches. BJ Kissel with Nick Leckey and Tucker Franklin with a new spot coming to you from Jack Stack Barbecue in Lenexa. Apologize, I lost my voice a little bit if it sounds funny, but we've got a fun show for you today. Obviously, talking about the Chiefs' upcoming game against the Las Vegas Raiders and believing if this is a trap game or not. It's gonna be a fun episode because I obviously we were talking about before. I already said no. Nick said yes, and we'll get Tucker's opinion on that here in a little bit. But it's gonna be a fun show. Got a lot of cool stuff. But again, special thank you to Jack Stack Barbecue, to Adam and Jules up here in Lenexa, the newest Jack Stack, taking care of us. Got some food coming out here in a little bit, guys. I'm excited to finally do a show here. We've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, we really have. It's sort of the pride of Lenexa right now. Like, Jack Stack coming in, this 435 and 87th corridor, just getting built up. And I just love it because usually we have to go to town center or downtown to get, barbecue. And for them to come through to the hood, essentially, and bring us some good barbecue, and just this place is just growing on me. Not only are our sponsors, but the place just kicks ass.
Yeah.
And there's the reason why they've been in business for a long time.
It's pretty cool.
For sure.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, it's an awesome place out here. This is the first time I've been out here. I haven't been over for very long, but there's some beautiful decor here. There's an iron cow that's parceled up into like where they actually cut the meat. That's a little hidden gem right there. That's where I wanted to shoot right there. I wanted to shoot into that little cow, but we didn't do that.
And everybody that's listening on our Apple podcast or Spotify tomorrow has no idea what we're talking about, or you pick the thing that even people watching live can't see the video. What we're talking about. But again, talking about the 8-4 Chiefs and the 6-6 Raiders coming up. And again, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or listening after the fact on Apple, Spotify, or any of the podcast audio channels, we appreciate your support. Again, thank you also to Jack Stack. Whether you live in Kansas City or if you're around the country, they do ship all over the country. JackStackBBQ.com. They will take care of you. They'll dry ice ship that stuff to you. And we've done that several times with different people. And the quality still turns out to be that Jack Stack that you are used to. But guys, let's get into this show a little bit because there's a lot to break down. Talking about the Chiefs and Raiders, always going to be a good one. So let's go with the front of the queue, the three hot topics that we got right now. And let's start with the question, the title of this podcast, of whether or not this is a trap game for the Chiefs, because obviously you're playing the Raiders 8-4 right now, but you've got that Thursday night game against the Chargers that's looming, that short week coming off. Right. Nick, you said that you believe this is a trap game.
100%.
So
100%.
Why do you think that's the case?
Anytime you have a noon game, it's sort of like a nothing game, right? Where a Sunday night, a Monday night, or Thursday night, you get hyped up, right? Because it's sort of the national broadcast. And noon game, you sort of get sandwiched into all the other games. So there's so many games going on. You're not the only event in town. And based off the previous, which is only a couple weeks ago, previous score, you think it was a blowout. But in actuality, it really wasn't a blowout until late. Right. They scored a bunch of points late, and it was pretty tight the whole game. And Oakland or Las Vegas, I will never not say Oakland, by the way. Las Vegas, as you know, like I said, they've gone through turmoil, and they're on the come up, and they want a piece of the Chiefs. And no matter how bad you are, good you are, divisional game, all bets are off. You get like a 51% advantage to the home team. That's about it.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting to think about it with the two divisional games coming up, especially one being on Thursday. Does it kind of negate it being a trap game since you do have to pay attention to every divisional game? I don't know. But as you mentioned, this Chargers game is going to be huge next week. A Thursday night game that's essentially for the division. And it's going to come down to just that game already, which is kind of crazy to think. And what would it be, week 15, week 16 at that point? That's a massive game. So it's going to kind of be a big focus on that one. I know Mike DeVito, I talked to him this week, and he said that they're installing things for next week's game on the short week on Thursday. So they're aware of what they might call. So it's one of those things where maybe the Raiders coming into town is going to negate it being a trap game, but I'm not so sure with them being 6-6 and a team that is kind of struggling. Could be easy for them to overlook.
I just like the fact as the petty Chiefs fan in me is just happy that we're disrespecting the Raiders by wondering if this is a trap game for a team that took, an extra lap around Arrowhead last year after winning. Like, you're going to disrespect us like that. I'm glad that we could have this topic and it's not just completely out of the question of whether or not they should look past this team. I just don't feel, and maybe this is the cliche, like the leadership type stuff, and I know I talk about it all the time, but they struggled so much earlier in the year. The offense isn't hitting the stride the way that they want, that they're going to be locked in to try to get to playing their best football. I think the defense is. So maybe on the defensive side, they could be looking ahead. I believe too much in Tyron and Frank and those guys, in the mistakes, in the way that they played early in the year, where they made things a little more difficult on themselves than any of us thought they would. I feel like that taught them a lesson not to look for. They can't afford to miss out on this game because of how they played and lost some of those games earlier in the year they shouldn't have. And so that's where I'm coming from, and it not being a trap game. Now I say that and the defense come out and not play well.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, oh, it was a trap game. But I don't think those guys will be in that position.
Listen, it doesn't matter what it is or what it's not. I mean, it was almost a trap game for Tucker when he was talking about how big the Chargers match is going to be on Thursday. So I feel like Tucker's already overlooking the Raiders right now. And that's what you do. Like, you have to avoid that tendency for coaches to install for Vegas and install for Los Angeles and say, okay, we'll worry about Los Angeles Monday, right? That's gonna be a super short week, all walkthroughs.
Yep.
And so it's just something you got to look for. And it's like, man, I think this offense is, oh my goodness, if you're listening, we just got delivered some pit beans and the cheesy corn and some wings.
Oh, the fire-kissed wings.
Oh my goodness.
Those are the best wings in the city.
Oh my goodness.
And Jules is taking care of us. Thank you very much.
Yes. And so, and like I said, I think there's one element. If you look at that 20-play drive by Denver,
right?
If the right guard goes the right way, that thing might go to the house. Right. So football is a game of inches. You can look back on certain plays and see that could have made or break it.
All right, let's move on to the second question here in our 3 hot topics in front of the queue. First segment, and is how long the Chiefs defense can keep this up. 5 straight games holding opponents to under 18 points. We have seen them be flat out dominant. Tucker, how long do you think the defense can keep this up?
Well, we saw in 2019 they kept it up all the way to the Super Bowl, right? So I think it's not unrealistic to think that they can keep it up all the way to the Super Bowl. And another point that Mike DeVito brought up, which I think his perspective on the defensive side of the ball is just so valuable to have on the network, just for him to talk about the calls and the installs and everything like that. But as a mindset, as a defense, when they flip the switch late in the season, that can be huge to keep that momentum into the playoffs and be hot at the right time. Because he kind of talked about, I believe it was it 2015 maybe, that they started off 9-0 and then went 1-5 to end it. What year was that?
That was 2013. That was Coach Reed's first year.
Okay, so in 2013, and he talked about that year, that was basically the inverse of the 2019 year, where they got cold to end the year and then had a first round playoff exit. So I think the defense getting hot can really help them carry into the playoffs, and it could really help the offense kind of get back into it. Because if you're thinking, Patrick Mahomes can now afford to take risk, I should say, not make risk, but he can afford to do that because it's not a death sentence to turn the ball over anymore. That defense is competent and has been able to get stops and get turnovers. I mean, Juan Thornhill got an interception, Dan Sorensen got an interception. They're getting turnovers now.
Thornhill laid a dude out. That was probably the biggest hit of Thornhill's career. And he's done that a few times for a player, and it always stands out to me because coming out of Virginia, it was always the ball skills, the anticipation, the ability to take the ball away is what he was known for coming out of college. So when he lays his shoulder down and lays somebody out, a guy who gained probably 10 or 15 pounds of muscle since he's arrived in the NFL, it's fun to see.
I'd say he's got that physicalness, and that's what I love about Thornhill. He's not afraid of contact. And I think any good safety is going to be not afraid of contact. And I feel like the Chiefs defense can keep this up, but it's going to be up to the offense again. I mean, I think this Chiefs defense has been here the whole time. It's the offense has been given over, turn the ball over, going 3 and out, not getting proper rest to the defense. And right now, this is a weird thing to say, but you're the offense, you're a ball possession offense. This offense right now, they're not putting points on the board. Right, they're not getting it done. And I think it's just going through this identity crisis of, I think the Chiefs finally have a running game where it's like a heavyweight bout from the 90s, where they can look at someone straight in the eye and say, we're going to run the ball at you. Stop it. Yeah. But what happens with the Chiefs is they stop themselves and they get pass happy, because they just can't help it. They go, we want it. We're like, we got the stallion. We don't want to just do this. So, and I think the injuries, the beatdown from the first 5 games from that gauntlet has really galvanized this defense. And, they've had to make some positional changes, but they've learned a lot through those 5 games. They got beat down in the media. I said they're the worst team. They took that to heart. And like I said last week, say it again, say it forever. Melvin Ingram, he's that missing link. Yeah. I'm telling you, bookend veteran DNs.
And Yeah, and this isn't to bop Chiefs fans, but I've thought about this quite a bit of Walter Payton Man of the Year, Tyrann Mathieu being announced, and it wasn't that long ago that he and Anthony Hitchens talking about toxic Chiefs fans because people were trying to use divisive language to make it seem like Daniel Sorensen and Tyrann Mathieu weren't boys. And we talked about it on the postgame show. None of it ever made sense to me because I know those guys were close, and going out and making a few bad plays isn't going to make you turn on a teammate. Like that's not how that's not how that works at all. So none of it ever made sense. They were always going to be close and be tight and stay together through the struggles. People on the outside, all those things, all those outside distractions that could have affected them, it didn't. And that's the reason that we're in this position now is because of the leadership and all those things that we're praising. Yeah. But Tyrann, they've got put through the ringer for being honest about how to stay close as a locker room. That's not cliche. Like that stuff matters. And it was uncomfortable when we were talking through it because it didn't seem to make sense. Like they said they were close. They got ridiculed for saying we don't feel like we're that far off. Steve Spagnuolo said that. We all made fun of him.
Right.
And
I did not.
I didn't make fun of him.
I did. On the record.
Yeah, I did. I
respect that.
Yeah.
I like honest about it. But he got ridiculed for that. Tyrann Mathieu got ridiculed. Anthony Hitchens got ridiculed. And guess what? Like I agreed with him. I thought they were completely right. I don't think they were getting a benefit of the doubt to work through struggles. There's gonna be ebbs and flows. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna be good. It's not just gonna come out and be top 5 the entire season like you're the 85 Bears defense.
Top 10. All you need to be is top 10.
Just be
top 15.
And you don't even have to be that. You need to be whatever you need to be in that game to win. So as long as the offense and the defense aren't both struggling at the same time, you can pick up the wins. And as long as you're healthy and playing your best by the end of the year, it'll be okay. But I think we need to swallow our pride, whatever that messaging is. I think it's important that we have the perspective of knowing that these guys overcame even having support wide ranging. There's people that supported them blindly. There's a lot more of those people than there are people that were attacking. But it's really hard for players sometimes to separate that and knowing on social media who's coming after them, how many percentage of people are for them, against them, all that kind of stuff. And it helped kind of create the character of this team that's going to help them moving forward.
It does. Well, and I'd like to give a shout out to management. I think they had every right to sort of get rid of Daniel Sorensen after he made really bad plays in successive games. And you want to talk about culture and defensive identity. And what you can do if they would have got rid of Daniel Sorensen. I'm not even talking about the pick 6. That was great. It was a great play, sort of redemption. But you look at this sort of culture of fear that you build when you have someone who messes up, multiple times, multiple games, and they get rid of that person, and it's something to me where it's like, you really can't do that because then you set the standard, say you mess up, you're out. And then instead of playing to win, playing for each other, you're playing just to not mess up. And that's never good. And that shows you we'll stick by you through your hard times. And that galvanizes a locker room. It really does.
For sure. And I think that one of the things about this defense was finding the right roles for these players. Because I think that with a lot of the injuries we talked about, Willie Gay started the season hurt. They didn't have him. And just trying to find the right way to use Juan Thornhill and Dan Sorensen and Tyrann Mathieu all at the same time. You got guys like Rashad Fenton coming into his own before his injury, and he was a limited participant, and I'm not sure what he was today at today's practice as we do the show live. But I think that's kind of a big thing is they really found the roles for these players to be in. And Craig Stout mentioned on the KC Laboratory that the defense is at its best now when Dan Sorensen and Ben Neiman have been on the field. So it's kind of backwards to think about from the beginning of the season. But it's been good to see those guys find those roles.
Yeah, and to Charlie's point, the bopping that came from Ken Swanson on the network, that's where that originated. But brought up Rashad Fenton, talking about the Chiefs defense, getting that guy back could be huge. A guy that I talked about last week is somebody that I'm excited to see down the stretch of the season. Guy who's 23 years old, playing his best football, getting better. Third year on a 4-year contract. This is when you start thinking, like, do we extend this guy? Do we pay him? Because he's going to be a lot more expensive. And I'm going to be a part of that train because I think Rashad Fenton has earned that in a lot of different ways. So, all right, let's go to the third topic here on our front of the queue. And that is this the get right game for the Chiefs offense? Mentioned a little bit earlier, Tucker, before we recorded, you had the point that they put up 40 points last time. Is this what the offense needs? The offense hasn't been as efficient as we've expected them to be this season. Nice way to say that. Is this a get right game for the Chiefs offense? Nick, what do you think?
I think they already had their get right game where this was that turning point when they first played a couple weeks ago where the offense got right. I just don't think this offense has not, as weird as it sounds, I think they're going through an identity struggle right now. Yeah. Or not really a struggle, but they don't know if they want to run the ball. They don't know if they want to pass it. The one thing about this offense that I've really, really loved, and it's so subtle, and this goes along with our B-sides take here, Mahomes in the pocket. Mahomes running the ball like he's not worth $500 million, like he's labor, not running like he should be hanging out with Jeff Bezos and Leonardo DiCaprio. But, so Mahomes running it, gritting it out, being wonderful in that pocket, stepping up, finally feeling comfortable with his offensive line. And that to me was what I want to see more of. And it's that slow little baby steps that you're seeing from where they were, where you're like, okay, they're moving forward. And then it's like I said, run the ball. Run the damn ball. I know it's not like offensive lineman. I'm like, this is what this offensive line was built to do.
Yeah, it's a pretty power heavy offensive line, and you got guys, you got Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey burying guys. I think Creed Humphrey is the highest rated rookie on PFF right now.
The number one center.
This is when we use PFF grades,
right? Yeah, when it fits our narrative. Obviously.
Exactly. Yeah, we're fair about it.
Yeah, only when it fits. And Rashad Fenton is like the number 3 corner in the league in terms of PFF grades. But anyway, I think that the offense kind of needs to get some confidence back, right? I think this would be a good game to throw those deep shots, get Patrick Mahomes more confident in his decision making. It's been tough. His receivers have been dropping balls, and that's been very uncharacteristic of Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Those guys aren't known for drops, but they've been dropping the ball a whole lot this year. And you can kind of see him get a little gun shy because of it, thinking, oh, I don't want to throw this ball because I don't want it to be tipped into a defender's hands and be a pick. So I would like to see that confidence kind of get back to this offense going into that Chargers game. If they can really regain that confidence, I'll feel a lot better going into Thursday night.
Those are great points, and we just had the question from Gina on the comments. And again, anybody who's out there watching, please send us your comments, your questions, looking through them now, and we'll bring them up and we'll react to them. But the question is about Josh Gordon, and I'm going to kind of combine anybody who's been on social media lately. There's a clip of Cooper Kupp going around about him talking through kind of how he adjusted his route, in the slot when there was a blitz, and you hear the language and the way that he explains. A lot of people talking about the language, and I won't talk to anybody who doesn't understand, what this is about, or kind of understand whatever. But I think it's important. There's so much that goes on mentally for receivers, not just on the Chiefs offense, but in the NFL in general. It's not as simple as just go run a slant.
Right.
And we talked about this before, where I think it's a lot of mental stuff. If Josh Gordon isn't used to this, and I have no reason to believe this, I'm just guessing from the outside, and any kind of insider perspective or anything. It's not as simple as just run out there, give him a play, and let him go run that route. You have to learn where to be in certain situations. And if they're in a meeting room and they're going through, okay, what do you do here? If he doesn't have a perfect answer, Patrick Mahomes knows that, and he's not going to, when he's sitting there hanging in the pocket, trying to be confident, knowing that receiver isn't exactly 100% sure of where he's supposed to be based on the look that he gets. And that becomes much more magnified if you go out on the field and he's not where he's supposed to be, and it's a negative play. It changes the game. So that's my guess, is at the mental side, and they have packaged plays for him. They just haven't necessarily happened the way that they're kind of built for. I still expect him, just because of the talent, the size, the speed, all those things, to make some plays down the stretch. But I think it's all set based on expectation when we signed him. What did you think he was going to be? This is exactly what I thought was going to kind of happen. He was going to make some key third down catches later in the season once he got comfortable with everything. So in that way, I'm not disappointed or surprised or anything with this. What do you guys think about necessarily Josh Gordon, what we've seen from him, and is there a place for him moving forward?
I mean, he's getting the reps, he's getting the snaps, no doubt about that. But sometimes too, you look at like when a receiver makes a side adjustment. So if you see coverage roll, if you see a safety drop down, if a safety is topped over your corner, your corner's blitzing, and then Mahomes is checking those first 2 steps, and if he's saying, "Oh crap, you're not supposed to run that next," and then so you're done from the get go. Yeah, that's how you make your read. You're like, I'm seeing this, you should be here. He's not, can't trust you. Yeah, so that way. So if you don't build that trust, you don't build that rapport, then you're not going to get your Byron Pringle on at all.
Hard to talk while BJ's eating wings over there. He's making goo eyes at us.
I'm a point guard.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, this is what I kind of think about Josh Gordon is, remember everyone had these lofty expectations of, oh, he's going to have 1,000 yards. He's going to have 50 catches. Like, that's just like unrealistic. And we see McCole Hardman, who's been in this offense for 3 years, not get those numbers. Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson.
But you get a lot of clicks on your website.
Correct.
You do.
You're right. Josh Gordon's going to have 1,000 yards. Click.
You're right. And I think that's kind of, as you mentioned to BJ, the expectations were extremely high for him. And Gina actually followed up with it as like the same thing happened with like LaShawn McCoy, Le'Veon Bell. Those are 2 different positions, but I do think that there's like it's weird that you see these season signings come in, but I don't really think it's that out of the ordinary. I don't know if you can pinpoint a mid-season addition other than Melvin Ingram. I knew you were looking at me like
Terrell Suggs. I mean, it's
really
more
good.
defensive than I guess it is on the offense.
It's easier to install defense. Defensive playbook is about 1 inch. Offensive playbook is about 4 inches.
There's CJ Spiller, but he was here basically on.
Well, he was okay. But I'm saying there's not a whole lot of guys that come in mid-season and then have just an incredible impact on an offense. So I think that kind of hedging the expectations. I was always a pioneer of that. Like, okay, let's slow down a little bit. But I don't think this should be site for alarm because they signed a multi-year deal with him. I think this has always been a long-term game. I think it's going to be okay next year. Draft a wide receiver in the first round, get a young guy, but then you have Josh Gordon in there who can kind of take those reps that Sammy Watkins role in air quotes. I
think that's going to happen in free agency. I think Brett Veach is going to give a definitive weapon to Patrick Mahomes and. You guys like Michael Gallup, Allen Robinson, guys, one of those big name guys. And I'm very confident in saying and having a chance to be around Brett Veach and knowing how they think. Patrick Mahomes is never going to want for weapons. Like he's going to make sure that Patrick Mahomes has guys who can go out there and make plays. And if there's ever a time where we didn't see them make those huge moves, it was this offseason. It wasn't for a lack of trying. They tried to get Juju Smith-Schuster. They tried some of this other stuff that didn't necessarily work out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the offense. This becomes that get right game
and just wait.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, he's saving some stuff for playoffs.
For sure. Didn't the defense
when you need it. Yeah. You don't want to show Josh Gordon too early.
Yeah. And we had historically bad numbers from the defense and they told us to be patient and some did, and they were rewarded. Whatever that looks like, rewarded for not, thinking the sky is falling and then being proved correct. Same thing on the offense. Like give these guys a little bit more time and maybe there's some more grace there and some more patience because it is Patrick Mahomes, it is Andy Reid, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, all these guys. But what they need is leadership, and what we see from leadership is from Fairway Independent Mortgage, because Fairway Independent Mortgage makes the home loan process as simple as possible by guiding you through every step, just as they've done for the past 25 years. Call Jennifer Dixon at 816-390-8898. That's 816-390-8898. Great rates, a focus on customer service, and the fastest turn times in the industry. That is Fairway Independent Mortgage. Tucker, I know that you are extremely excited about this next segment. This is the Tucker's Crown Prime Beef of the Week.
Yeah.
And what's going on social media. And I apologize for anybody that thinks that this is going to be a football-related topic.
It's not.
It is not. But Tucker's got some thoughts about what's going on in the world, and Nick does too.
Yeah, so I like to stay informed. That's one of my favorite things to do. Listening to the shout out to another podcast I listen to every day, the New York Times The Daily podcast. Okay, nice. Little 20 minutes get me informed on the day. Usually listen to it on my drive into work. And they were talking about have you heard of Russia? Heard of it?
Yeah, heard of them.
Heard of them. Okay. They've placed 175,000 troops on their border with Ukraine. Now this is nothing new for Russia and Ukraine to kind of go at it. In 2014, I believe he took over the Yucatan Peninsula. Is that right?
No, that's Mexico.
Oh, what peninsula did he take over?
But that was at like Donbass region. I'm not sure, but yeah,
it's considered the tropical region of the kind of of Russia.
So like the Russian Yucatan Peninsula,
right?
Yucatan is like
it's on the Black Sea. Yeah, you're right. I messed that one up. That one was on me. But anyway, he, as in Vladimir Putin, is trying to gain influence back over Ukraine. And Ukraine had an incredible response to the kind of the European or the military tactical moves. They tweeted out a meme. The official Twitter account of Ukraine tweeted out a meme, and it was like different types of headaches. It's like stress, and then it's pain and headache, and then the one that's all red said being next to Russia. And I think that was Taiwan replied to it and said being next to China.
Wow.
Which is, that's dangerous.
Wow.
Social media people are going to cause a war.
Wow.
So World War III is going to be started by memes.
That makes sense.
So that's a big beef.
That's a massive. There's a lot of beefs. I mean, and who knows how much of it is saber rattling,
right?
The positioning is, they're looking to do the Nord Stream gas pipeline into Germany, through Ukraine. So there's a lot of stuff going on that's economically that, with the price of oil being so high, Russia is profiting, but at the same time, people are unrest, and Putin's always looking to make a distraction.
Yeah.
He's always saying, looking over here, he doesn't, maybe this is the time where they get rid of Alexei Navalny, the political dissident they got in the deepest, darkest gulag in Siberia. Yeah. So just one of those things where is this a distraction? Is this a threat? Is this credible? Do they really want to annex? Do they want to annex Ukraine? Is it trying to get a deal done? Yeah. NATO. I mean, there's so much going on right now. You just don't know.
And I think people like to ask why now. Like why is he doing it now? And they're in the process of becoming a full member of NATO. Now it won't happen this year or next year, or probably for a few years it wouldn't happen. But if he does it now, he doesn't have to deal with the United States. Exactly. Like it's not contractually obligated. If that happens, the United States has to come, or any of those powers in the NATO. So I think it's just one of those things you keep an eye on. But I'm sure it is a big beef, and I'm sure you thought that you were going to hear about Ukraine and Russia on a football podcast. Live from a barbecue place.
I've got nothing to add to this. I'm not qualified. I barely feel like I'm qualified to talk about the Chiefs. I'm sure not going to talk about Eastern geo-NATO politics or whatever you called it earlier. But let's move on to Nick's favorite segment in our blind nil. And I'm going to start this off because I want to give a quick shout out to everyone that supported our first annual holiday raffle and toy drive. It was called the Soul of KC, who's benefiting Operation Breakthrough. For anyone who didn't have a chance to see, Dick's Sporting Goods chipped in with a $5,000 donation, which put us over our goal that was originally set of $10,000 to raise to buy toys to deliver to Operation Breakthrough for this Christmas season. And we finished with a grand total of having raised $13,684 that we are going to use to purchase toys to drop off to Operation Breakthrough this year. Anyone who purchased tickets for this, we will be drawing for those prizes during our post-game show next Thursday night, that game that we're talking about against the Los Angeles Chargers. We will be out at the Kingdom Bar and Grill, new bar and grill opening in Overland Park, but we will draw the winners right off the start of that show. So I think it was 17 different prizes that we'll raffle off: the Chris Jones jersey, the Patrick Mahomes helmet, all that kind of stuff. But thank you so much, everybody out there that was that donated and bought tickets and was a part of this. It was a really simple idea. We had some really great things that were donated by some local businesses. Yeah. And so the whole thing was just everybody chipping in a little bit, and it ended up making a huge impact, and we'll make a huge impact, and we'll take some pictures, get some videos so you guys kind of see that impact. But $13,684.
That's a lot of money.
Unbelievable. Did not expect it. I mean, you raised $200 and you're happy because you made a difference, and it didn't really cost anybody anything. But to do something like that, it was special. So my blind nil question to you guys, Christmas related: what's the best Christmas present you ever remember getting as a kid? Ooh. Tucker, since that wasn't that long ago for you, I'm going to let you go first. You don't have to dig back into the memory bank.
Right. I can remember getting a Wii for Christmas. I was pretty stoked about that one. I think I got a PS2 as well for Christmas one year, but I think the one that takes the cake is we went on a cruise for Christmas. That's cool. Yeah, my parents just or Santa, I mean, just oh, wow. Wait, no, I actually think that was for my parents.
Kids can't watch this.
No, I couldn't remember who it was from. Who put it up the tree?
It's from the North Pole.
It all runs together. But we just had bag tags on our duffel bags. I'm like, what's this? And my parents were like, we got a cruise. And I was like,
tomorrow? Was it the next day?
Like they packed you up and you left?
No, we still had to pack ourselves. What? Okay. Hey, that's a good point. We should have had our bags packed.
That'd have been cool.
It is like, hey, get in the car. We're going to go out to breakfast. Just went to the airport.
That would have been an hour and a half drive to Kansas City at that point because I was living in Trenton. Yeah, okay. But good time. We went, set sail in Miami, went to Key West and Cozumel, the Yucatan Peninsula.
There you go.
I think I've been on a very similar cruise in the same places.
The Mayan Riviera.
Yeah,
exactly. I would say my I don't know, one of my favorite gifts was getting the Super Nintendo.
See, I remember getting that one year.
I remember getting it. Was really cool, but I was geeked up. I loved it. But I think the most shocking and the best overall performance from Santa and his elves was one year my sister and I got these scooters. The stand-up scooter with the rubber wheels, and that's and then Santa brought it to us. So we're done unwrapping the presents, and it was just a knock. And then Santa was there with two scooters, and I just freaked out. Just because the hype is there, you're like, "Who's that? Is it Santa? Santa's here? What's
that's
that?"
Awesome.
He went back there. It's this whole production, and that's awesome. I loved it. And I remember just geeking out. So yeah, scooters.
That's a really good one. I think mine. It's almost like the cliche. Like the first time I remember getting my bike, because we split time. So my mom's side of the family lived in Des Moines. And so we'd go up to Des Moines one year, and then next year we'd be in Kansas City. We'd just go back and forth. And this one was in Des Moines, and somehow they got the bicycle up. The whole family went up there, and the bike, never saw it. So it's amazing that Santa was able to get it there without any of us seeing the family in the car.
Before the internet, too. So.
Before the internet.
The MapQuest that are called AAA.
Oh. It's a lot trickier in some ways, Christmas now, than it was in the past, where my wife's like, we got to go Christmas shop. I want to go to stores, and my wife's like, she's Amazon. Like, things are backing up. I'm like,
let's go to the store.
Let's go to the store, and she's like, no, we got to order online like 2 weeks ago.
I had the Santa come to my house one time. He delivered Shrek, the DVD, to me.
Okay, wow, that's awesome.
Great film.
But I remember coming down and seeing it was like that cliche, like you come down from grandma's house, you turn the corner and like you see the bike, and it was like a big neon green Huffy, like, and it had like the spokes on it. I was probably like 10 or 11.
Mags,
whatever those things, the
plastic ones,
like the little things. But I always remember like coming down and like peeking around and like losing my mind. I was like, oh my god, I got the bike that I wanted, and it was like December in Des Moines, so no chance of riding a bike for months. But I had
date of Christmas.
I think it was December, right? I think it was December, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
cool.
My blind nil. That's Nick, really what do you got?
So it's funny, blind nil. I think we're all in the holiday theme.
Yeah.
Favorite, and I want no thinking. Just blurt it out at the same time. Then we'll discuss. Someone's here, each of you at the same time. Favorite holiday song? Go. Say it.
This Christmas.
I'll talk about the Mariah Carey song just because I hear it all. Like, it's my wife's all-time favorite song. It's the first song we listen to the day after Thanksgiving when we're putting Christmas stuff up. So the All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Okay, nice. So this Christmas, why this Christmas?
It's one of those that really gets you in the spirit. I do think I see all I Want for Christmas Is You is one of those that is played all the time. Yeah, it is. Mariah Carey's got to be making a killing over that song.
Just because of that Twitter. Song, right? Like she's got to.
Well, that's what I love about Twitter. It's like we switched from pumpkin spice season on Twitter to Mariah Carey getting bag season.
Mariah Carey gets the bag.
So it's like she's like the holiday version of Bobby Bonilla. Yes. So we just celebrate Mariah Carey Day like we do. It's the day after Christmas.
I saw something the other day that talked about all these baseball contracts that were just signed, and they're talking like when they end, and then like a couple of them like Bobby Bonilla, after these all end. It's great.
Bobby Bonilla Day is my birthday.
Really?
Yes. Oh, July 1. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
That's so
Canada Day as well.
Really?
Canada Independence Day.
Bobby Bonilla Day. Let's not chill out, northern neighbors. Unless they're amassing troops on our border, then
we can talk about
it. It's Canada Day. Yeah, I would say mine is Last Christmas by Wham. Just I don't know what it is about that movie or that music video. First of all, talk about the only person with better hair than Tucker is George Michael in that video in that Last Christmas. Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
Oh my! I mean, just glorious and just amazing. Like just in the most randomest video, they're like a bunch of young couples and they're up in the snow and the mountains and they're frolicking in the autumn mist and whatnot. And just that song, something about it, I hear it and it's like just. Oh my! It's like my favorite holiday song. Like there's not even a second. It's like 1, 2, and 3. It like takes the sweep of the podium.
You know how I know we've been doing the show for a while? Mm-hmm. I knew that was your favorite Christmas song because we've done enough Christmas podcasts over the last 3 or 4 years that I knew that Wham song was your favorite. And the other one is the NSYNC song, the Merry Christmas. Like you can't walk into a department store and not hear both of the Mariah Carey song and the NSYNC song, and you know what song I'm talking about. If you heard it, you'd be like, okay, that's the song. Anyway, Tucker, what do you got for blind now?
So I believe last week or the last time we did this show, I thought it was last week. I asked you guys about your drink choices at a tailgate when it was kind of nice outside, right? Yeah. It is getting cold out now. Oh, okay. So not your drink choices when it's cold outside.
I was gonna say mine's the same.
Yeah. What's your food choice then? We're sitting in front of some wonderful wings right here, and some barbecue is obviously a staple at a Kansas City, Chiefs tailgate. Does the food change at all when it gets towards the holiday season?
Or you might for a tailgate or
for just tailgate?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I want to see a prime rib at a tailgate. I think nothing gets you in the mood than a big ass piece of meat with bones on it. Just put it in the Ronco
turkey leg.
Just turkey leg. Just put it in the Ronco toaster oven. Set it, forget it, and just get the real horsey sauce. By the way, not the cream. The real horse sauce. Prime rib gets me in the tailgate holiday mood.
Mine's a little strange just because if I go to a tailgate, I know I'm going to go ham on some like buffalo chicken dip. Like it's just
you
put it.
You did there.
Go ham on it.
Yeah.
Oh. Anything off the grill is going to be going like chips. It's just easy. Get a paper plate, just load up a bunch of buffalo chicken dip, a bunch of chips, and just sit me in my like tailgating chair with my Captain and Coke or my 5 Farms and coffee.
That sounds awesome. It does. I think
it's my best lie. Like,
but buffalo chicken dip is it's underrated.
Yeah.
But it's so damn good when made right.
Yeah, everybody likes it when it's made right.
What's the chip?
The Tostita scoops.
The scoops.
Have you ever had
the yellow Tostitos restaurant style, the thick ones?
No.
Oh my gosh.
But you're the guy who likes Canadian ketchup chips. So I don't know if I'm going to take. You didn't grow up in Canada.
I spent all my summers there growing up as kids. So
really?
Yeah, man. June to August. Yeah. So I missed every single movie from kindergarten to 7th grade because I was in Canada.
Have you seen Heavyweights?
No. That's offensive.
I don't know why that's the first movie that came to my mind. I was
offensive.
Like, you can't miss
so
this
offended
movie
right now. I am so offended.
Wow.
Right now. If you don't know,
we're doing a podcast.
It's a movie about fat kids going to fat camp.
I swear to you, Nick, it'll be a top 5 movie for you. I promise you will love that movie. I know you well enough to know you would love that movie.
I haven't seen that movie either.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I'm 23 years old though. So
we're gonna do a completely off the books, off the cuff.
Oh yeah, really?
Watch party. If anyone out there likes the movie Heavyweights and wants to watch it with us, we will do a second screen watch party. So these two can experience Heavyweights for the first time with Ben Stiller and
MST3K.
You guys probably don't understand like half the things I say are probably quotes from that movie, and you can just courtesy laugh and nod, and you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Wait, what year were you born? 84?
83.
So I was born in 82. So I'm older than BJ, but yet somehow younger. It's so weird. It's so bizarro.
I didn't spend half my life in Canada.
That's true. You did. Yeah. I did.
And I've watched Heavyweights a lot because it's a great movie.
So I'll put it on my list.
I'm not making fun of you for being a bigger guy. You look at me like I just hurt your feelings.
I'm just messing with you because I saw an opening. It was an easy opening.
All right, we're going to wrap this show up. Anybody got any final comments for us, please shoot those over. You got any questions you want us to react to, let us know in the comment section. But Tucker, final thoughts is the Chiefs are getting ready to play the Oakland Raiders, or the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland is what I've called them. I think that this is a game that the Chiefs have to be ready for. They got to be up for. Last time they were in Kansas City, they lost to them.
They've seen this movie.
So Jack's Stack Barbecue said that? That's insane. Okay, anyway, last time the Raiders were in Kansas City, they beat the Chiefs, and they did a little victory lap, right? So I think that'll be fresh in their minds. I don't think the Chiefs will actually overlook this team, even though they're 6-6 and are on a free fall. Derek Carr has been throwing the ball downfield a little bit more. I don't think that's any cause for concern because how the defense is playing.
These might be the best wings in town.
Nick's like, oh, this pleases me.
I don't remember what you just said because I just
you wouldn't get it because it's from the movie that you haven't seen.
You remember, you know how like great whites roll their eyes back and when they chomp things. I just did that. These wings, I'm not even joking right now.
Get on the scale. Get off the scale. You guys got to see that movie.
Explain Jack Stack's go-kart. Say what Jack Stack said. We didn't send you to go-kart camp, BJ. What is that?
He just wanted to go fast one
Ben
time.
Stiller?
Don't worry about it. We're not going to give anything away.
See, whatever. You know what? See, you've never been a big kid. I was a husky kid my whole life.
I was a fat kid.
Me too.
But
I'll show you pictures.
When you get on a go-kart, you're getting that slow
I had a go-kart as a kid. I completely understand the movie and wanting to go fast. I used to, like, with the go-kart, I'd put, like, a bunch of socks on my hand. I'd reach back to the governor, like the gas cap, and I would open it because then you'd go, like, significantly faster, but it was spitting out, like...
the trick?
Yeah, you'd go back, and it wasn't the governor. It was...
it was, like, a little regular thing.
The fuel thing, and I would hold it open, but it would, like, shoot out hot air, so, like, burn my sock. Like, the sock would catch on fire, but I could hold it for at least 20 seconds and get going.
Hold on. You would put a sock on your hand and then touch the engine?
It wasn't the end. Like, it was a little go-kart. I just reach back and like hold open the fuel thing. There's a little metal thing. And I'd hold it open and it would let me go faster.
The early 90s were so much more raw than now.
And there was so much like sand in the cul-de-sacs from where we were at from like during the winter and stuff that you could fishtail and like.
That's the best.
Oh, it was great.
It's like a jet ski, right? Jet ski is fun for 5
minutes. My kids have no chance of doing any of this kinds of dumb stuff, but I had a great time.
Full throttle.
Still will.
Donut. I'm done. See you next year, jet ski.
Well, this completely went off the rails, but we will. We have started the process, and please let us know if see everybody in the comments loves the movie Heavyweights too. We are going to get something together, maybe for the off season. Do a little second screen watch party of Heavyweights so these guys can experience the greatness that we have all already witnessed. So anyway, we appreciate everybody for tuning into this special episode. We will do some more episodes here. Again, thank you to everybody from Jules, to Adam, and everybody up here in Lenexa at the Jack Stack Barbecue for taking care of us. We are going to now eat some more food these guys can eat. I've been eating during the show. Those wings are the best in the city.
I was a big peanut fan. But I mean, these wings don't even need sauce.
No bad wings, but these are the best.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God.
Fire Kissed wings from Jack Stack. Come up, get your appetizer. Tell them that we sent you if you want. But we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Chiefs, Raiders, Sunday at noon, and we will be live for the Chiefs or the KCSN Live post-game show. We will be taking care of and breaking everything down from that one. Hopefully they get their, sixth straight win? Sixth straight win. Huge. So appreciate everybody for supporting us. Again, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. A lot more cool stuff ready to announce sometime in the next week. And appreciate, again, everyone's support for our Soul of KC holiday raffle and toy drive. Everybody, have a great day, great weekend, and be good to each other. And we'll see you next time.
You know what this reminds me of? That in Avengers end scene where they're just eating the shawarma.